Hello, everybody. I'm here with Michael Kaufman at Kaufman Law. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ahmad. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So, we're here today. I saw your bio. I saw your some of your stuff, and a lot of achievements, a lot of things at a very young age. I thought you'd be very interesting to speak with. So, number one, you practice injury law. I want to know, why did you choose to become an injury lawyer?
Great question. And there's a story behind it. I grew up around the trade. My dad is an injury lawyer, and has always been, taking me to things, coming to the office at a young age. But there was a moment when I decided this is for me. Um, when I was 12 years old, I went to my first trial, and our client, the plaintiff, was the victim of medical negligence. They failed to diagnose a stroke that he had had, and as a result of the misdiagnosis, our client ended up with locked-in syndrome, which is a type of paralysis where you cannot move any part of your body except for your eyeballs. And so, having spent a lot of time with this guy before the trial, um, getting to know him in a strange way. All he could do was blink, and we developed this system for him to blink out answers to questions. So the first time I saw a trial was this case, and they called the plaintiff, our client, up to the stand, and it was blink once for yes, blink twice for no, and they asked him a few short questions. One open-ended question, and it was, what do you miss most about your life before you were paralyzed? And very slowly, painstakingly even, he blinked out an answer. And his response to that question was, I miss laying in bed next to my wife. And this moment was so powerful. I look up and the judge is crying. The jury, even the defense, have tears in their eyes. And I remember this being such a powerful moment, such a life-changing moment for me, because I remember sitting back behind the bar saying, I want to do this with my life. I want to help these people who have been hurt by other people. And next thing you know, I was about 12 years old to do.
Sorry, I cut
And
off for a second. You said you're about 12 years old.
I was about 12 years old when I saw this trial. And so coming up through middle school, high school, and college, I knew I was going to law school. In college, I was a history major. I didn't bother with the business stuff or the science stuff because I knew I was going to law school. And actually, history translates very well to law. The way you research a history, you go to the books. Putting together a legal argument and a historical argument are very similar. So it actually was a nice path for me to take to get to where I am now.
Wow. Okay. That was a really, really, really. I didn't expect it to be that deep, and for you to be so certain about something at such a young age, which explains the other stuff we spoke about before the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. Okay. And so, I want to ask you another piece on that. Have you always, even before that trial, have you always felt like an urge to help people? Like, have you always felt like that's like your obligation? You know?
I'm a middle child. I've always been kind of the peacemaker, the diplomat. I'm able to take people's conflicts and get them to the table, bring them together, and find a solution to the problem in a way where I hope that everybody wins. So yeah, I guess even before that trial at a young age, I've always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to make peace where I can. In our business, sometimes, carrying the sword is the only way to make peace. But where Sun Tzu says the best way to win a war is to not fight it. And when that's possible, that's the route that I always want to take. But you always have to know that there comes a time when you have to fight. And that's what we do at our firm. We are peaceful until it is time to fight, and then we gear up.
Oh, I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi is being a little bit spotty right now, but it said then you gear up and then just finish that up. I can cut it.
Sure. We once we gear up, there's no going back.
Good. Okay. So you got a settlement. It was for $1 million. The evidence you were telling me, the evidence was very difficult to find. How do you go about? Because most injury lawyers aren't really, in my opinion, right? They aren't really like really going hard finding the evidence. They're just trying to settle it fast. Not most injury lawyers, but like, how do you go about finding?
It definitely depends on the practice whether somebody is doing the extra digging to find the evidence they need in the case, or if they're trying to get the case settled fast. It matters so much how many cases they have and how they handle each case. This was a very interesting one for me. I'll give you a little background on it. Ordinarily, it's a car wreck case. And ordinarily in a car wreck case, the defendant and the plaintiff are in different cars. You know, your typical car wreck case is like a rear ender, somebody sitting at a red light or something, and somebody runs into the back of them. A lot of times you're not paying attention. In this case, the plaintiff and the defendant knew each other. They were friends, and they were in the same car. So just to give you some quick and out all night, I think at the clubs or the bars, whatever. And they were coming down Peachtree Street. The driver was going too fast. Didn't notice a MARTA bus stopped at the bus stop picking up passengers and slammed into the back of it, doing like 45 miles an hour. The speed limit on that road, I think, is 35. And my client shattered her, among other injuries, she shattered her femur in her leg. And for anyone who knows anything about orthopedic medicine, the femur it's the longest bone in your body. It may be the thickest bone in your body. Breaking it is a big deal. And she didn't just break it, she shattered it. So we knew that immediately this case is a big case. There was very clear liability and serious damages. What brought the case home? Well, two things. Every case needs three things in it. It needs liability, somebody who caused the injuries, who's at fault. Damages. A case needs somebody to have been hurt and for somebody to, for the ability to be compensated for those injuries. And the third thing is deep pockets. And that's always the toughest. A lot of times in a case like this, the defendant has $25,000 of insurance and the bills, greatly exceed that in the medical bills. Here, this guy owned a used car dealership and he was driving one of the cars from the lot. So he happened to have $1 million of insurance. We found that out pretty quickly. And that's an important thing, first off, to find out. We know we have good insurance, we have good injuries, and we have good liability, three-legged stool. What really brought the case home for us is we did a download on our car, the car that my client was in, and found out the force that was exerted on the vehicle. We did this through an expert reconstruction where they go and download the black box or the ECM, electronic control module, and found out it's called the delta V, the change in velocity. Basically, the car decelerated from 45 miles an hour before the wreck, immediately before the wreck, to 0 within less than a second. That force on your body is tremendous, and it caused our client to fly forward, hit the dash, and break her femur. We were also able to get, and here's some of the difficult part, is there was a camera up on a telephone pole pointing right at this wreck. And ask any plaintiff's trial lawyer about getting these cameras. They are apparently don't record, but this one was recording, and we were able to get it from the police. And it showed the guys running a red light, slamming into the back of this MARTA bus, and really the carnage that ensued. So, in addition to the medical records, which show that she needed surgery, she needed pins and rods in her leg, we were able to bring home for the insurance adjuster and the lawyer handling the case just how bad of a wreck it was and how negligent the person driving was. We also think, we'll never know this, but there was a gap in time between their last known location and the wreck. I can't remember exactly, an hour or two gap where we don't know what happened. Nobody seems to know because my client can't remember and the defendant also can't remember. So there was a big risk, I think, for the defense of an inference of drunk driving or driving stoned, what have you. And we'll never know this, but some of those factors were what allowed us to get that case settled for $1 million fairly quickly.
Because they don't want to, I get that. Wow. That's serious. And
so in Georgia, you can send a letter called a demand letter to the insurance company. And under a certain statute, OCGA 911-67.1, you can make certain demands on time, the amount, the type of release that that your client will sign. And what you do is you say, if you don't comply with all these terms and conditions, then you've rejected this offer. And so if we go to try the case and get more than $1 million, which we almost certainly could have, and they may be on the hook for whatever the jury awards. The theory is that the insurance company had an opportunity to protect their insured, their customer, within that policy limit, and they failed to do it. And so now the insurance company is negligent for failing to protect their customers' assets. And so the insurance company, in this case, after we presented them with the evidence that we had available to us at the time, immediately saw the value of the case and did what they needed to do to protect their insured.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. When you first go into that story, I'm like, okay, that's very like gruesome and harsh, but I love hearing how you, protect your clients and help people. That's what I'm hearing throughout the whole theme of this interview.
This one means a lot to me. My client took the money that she got from the settlement and bought a house. She's the first person in her family to be a homeowner. Her mom, her grandma, and so on. She's the first to ever own a home. And she was able to do that because of what we did for her in handling the case the right way.
That's amazing. Okay. And so like that's okay. So like what's the difference between working with a boutique firm like yours and then going to a big law firm? Like even in that instance, like what happened with that case? And you can't say, okay, well, if she would have went with a big firm, this would have happened, right? But you know what I mean?
Right. Hard to say that, but I think the main difference between a much bigger injury law firm and a smaller injury law firm is attention to detail and, most importantly, client service, customer service. At a big law firm, you might never talk to your lawyer. Your lawyer might have 600 cases on their desk. And with that many cases, any case manager, paralegal, they get overwhelmed. And so you've got this revolving door of new people that you're always talking to. You call in the office, it's a new paralegal. You don't know them. They don't know you. They don't know your case. Can I talk to my lawyer? Oh, he's busy. He's in depositions. He's doing this. He's doing that. And you just can never talk to anybody. At our firm, you're going to get somebody when you call. At worst, it might take us 24 hours to call you back. But nothing more than that. You want to talk to your lawyer? You can talk to your lawyer. The way we do that is we keep each of our lawyers' caseloads small enough that they know every case like the back of their hand. Same with their paralegal and their legal. So everybody knows all the cases, and everybody participates. We take a team approach to everything. And so even if your lawyer is in depositions and you need to speak to a lawyer that day, one of us can take the call. One of the other lawyers can take the call. The paralegals is another difference, is because of the way we do things, we attract top talent, and our paralegals are very smart, very experienced, know the law, know the practice area, and are such an integral part of the team that they can field questions as long as they're not legal related questions. You can't, somebody without a law license can't practice law, but having knowledgeable paralegals makes a great deal of difference in being able to do things quickly, being able to respond to our clients quickly. And it's what makes all the difference. That's why our clients love us so much. It's not just the results. In fact, I think as great as the results are, money doesn't put somebody back together. It doesn't really make them whole. It's the best thing that the American justice system has come up with. But really what they want out of the law firm is a law firm that cares, a law firm that is going to hear them and listen and work through their problems with them. And you'd be surprised how little that you get at the big firm, especially there's are
I'm sorry, it cut a little bit when you said and then yeah.
Can you hear me? There's a new trend in Atlanta where there are law firms trying to undercut what the traditional legal fee is. And I've gotten several clients from these folks where people, oh yeah, I'm going to get the discount lawyer. And they do, and they never hear from their lawyer. They never hear from their paralegal. It's that same revolving door. And, they always call me and they say, my case is lost in the woods. Nobody knows what's going on. Can you help me? And we've been able to help those folks. And they all say it's like night and day. I can't believe, how good your customer service is. I can't believe you picked up my phone call. I can't believe I get to talk to a real lawyer, when they come from these other firms that have so much volume and not enough staff that it becomes a problem for both the client and the firm.
Wow. That speaks to your business acumen as well. And so, having achieved a lot of success at a pretty young age, what advice do you give to young attorneys?
I've got a couple things. The first one is go get your feet wet. Do whatever you can. Go to a firm where you're not just on, doing, circulating calls. Go out there and make sure that you're answering discovery, taking depositions, and most importantly, that you have an opportunity to try cases. Get in front of judges, get in front of juries, screw up, make mistakes, practice. Ask any successful trial lawyer and they will tell you that they've learned 10 times more from their mistakes than they have from their successes. Another thing that a young lawyer should do is network and join their trade association. For me, it's the Georgia Trial Lawyers Association. We have several meetings a year, happy hours, lunch and learns, CLEs, and so on. And every time I go, I learn something new. Every time I go, I meet someone new, or we talk about our cases with each other. And having the whole hive mind, the collective thought on how to best handle a situation in a case is immensely powerful. It's something that other trade organizations don't have. For instance, the defense lawyers, they have a defense bar, but it doesn't have the same power as us. And it's because we're so tight knit, and because we bounce ideas off each other and meet regularly. So joining the trade association is so important for learning your craft from another angle and being able to bounce ideas off of people and learn from them too.
Okay. And I saw on your website, I don't know if you started this up yet. You have a podcast?
Well, all right. So no, I don't.
No?
We
Okay.
did, we have had a podcast in the past. We did a few episodes. It was fun. Um, but it kind of fell by the wayside. One day I'd like to pick it back up and do what you do, Ahmad, because it seems fun. You meet a lot of people, and it's it's just good work, and I think it's good for the business too. Um, I have a very busy job between cases and managing the firm, and I should be able to find time to do it because it is a valuable thing. I just haven't.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say they should go and subscribe to it or follow you where you have it, but where can they find you? Obviously not your podcast, but where can they find you? Where can they
Um,
find you if they're looking to connect with you?
we're online at Kaufman Law PC on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Our website is kaufmanlawatlanta.com. My Instagram it's a funny name. It's Boodad6, BOODAD6. And that's because my first AOL screen name back in the AOL days, I was probably German Shepherd, two of them. One named Ghost, he was all white, and one named Boo, he was all black. And that's why my Instagram handle is Boodad6. But the best place to see our law stuff is Kaufman Law on Instagram.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised Boodad 106 wasn't taken already. That sounds like a very popular name. But
Boodad6, not
oh,
no one.
Boodad six. Oh,
Yeah,
Boodad 6. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time, and it was very interesting today. And yeah, can't wait to talk to you again.
absolutely. I look forward to seeing it, and I appreciate your time and for you calling me up and asking to interview me. This was fun.
Thank you.